Ole, take us back to last week when the Caps clinched the cup in Vegas. What a great moment where Alex Ovechkin sought you out, gave you the cup, you raised it above your head, you kissed the Stanley Cup, then you gave it back to him and let him go on his way. Talk about that interaction between you and Alex and how special it was for you to get your hands on the Stanley Cup as the Caps won it for the first time.
Well, first and foremost, it was just so surreal to be there and to be a part of it. And then, it just the relationship that Ovi and I had. I was here for the first 2 years. We played together, and I felt like I was one of those veterans that kind of took him under my wing. And he was so enamored with being in the NHL. He wanted to learn the North American way. He wanted to speak English right away. Like he was bought in as soon as he came here. And so we've had a special relationship, and obviously I worked for the organization, and I still stay in touch. But for him he was actually skating off the ice to go to the dressing room and start a celebration, and he spotted me, and he made a big U-turn and a beeline to me, and he yelled out some expletives and handed me the thing, and it's a moment I'll never forget.
You talk also about how far the Caps have come since you were a part of the Cup run in '98, where the Caps were struggling to sell tickets to the Stanley Cup final games in their own building, and then fast forward 20 years later, and 70,000 people are trying to get into the arena to watch the Caps play while they're in Vegas. So talk about your Cup run and how much different it is now in 2018.
Well, I don't think we had a problem selling tickets to the finals. It was just that we sold them to the wrong team.
Right.
We came out in the whole lower bowl. We're Detroit Red Wing fans, so it was a little disheartening. But you know what? At the time, I remember we came back from Game 6 in Buffalo, and our practice rink in Piney Orchard, Maryland, and 2 miles from the arena, their cars were lined up and down the street, and we came in. It was like 2:30 in the morning. Not feeling any pain, and the whole building was packed. It was almost exactly like the send-off party that the team this year had at Kettler. Only this for us was us winning the Eastern Conference Championship. But to see, like, down by Capital One Arena before the game, I mean, the streets are closed, and it was just literally a sea of red. It was unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't believe it. The concerts outside, even the Saturday game where the weather was questionable, and the people, the diehards are out there, watch party with the umbrellas, and I guess they had 140,000 requests for the watch party of Game 5. It just shows you where this organization has come from.
Talking to Olaf Kölzig, Washington Capitals legend. So you played with Alex as a rookie. Give me your impression of him on the ice the first time you saw him play.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember the first practice I came off, and I was talking to the reporters. He was the best player I'd ever played with, and that was his first practice. And I'd played with some really good players. I mean, Peter Bondra and Jaromir Jagr, Adam Oates, Joey Juneau. This guy was just powerful, fast. His shot was so heavy. And then obviously the first game against Columbus, he scores. So I knew he was going to be something special. And I'm just so happy for him that he finally got the Stanley Cup, because I don't think he deserved a lot of the criticism that he got. Obviously, being the best player, the highest paid player on a team that hasn't won the cup, yes, you're gonna endure some criticism, but I think a lot of it was unjust, and I'm glad he won it. In my opinion, I don't think it really defined Alex Ovechkin. I think it legitimizes him to a lot of people outside of Washington and outside of the organization. But he was, in my opinion, no question, one of the top 10 all-time greatest hockey players ever.
Now, Ole, looking back on this playoff run these last 2 months, obviously Braden Holtby is going to be known for the save, but you go back to the beginning, and Gruby was the goalie, and it made sense to a lot of us because he had been playing better the last couple of months. Talk about what it's like as a goalie, because Braden, of course, had been the best goalie in hockey before, and they talked about giving him the reset, and man, did he play well. Just talk about what it's like as a goalie, kind of the ups and downs.
Yeah, and for Braden, there hadn't been a lot of downs. Even in our playoff losses, he was still one of our better performers. So he's played so much hockey the last 4 years that there were some things that were starting to creep into his game, especially after the All-Star game. We weren't maybe playing as well defensively either. So
what kind of things, Ole? What kind of things were you saying?
Just, he's starting to open up again. He was playing so tight. Pucks weren't getting through him. He was overreacting to pucks. His body control wasn't as good as it was. But again, he was being exposed too because we weren't playing that well defensively. And so the culmination, obviously, his numbers got inflated, and so they put Gruby in. And arguably, if Gruby hadn't played the way he did, we might not have even made the playoffs. So those two guys, our tandem, were huge.